DOOL spoilers say that Xander's boiling point, a brotherly bond shattered. Ever since Xander accepted the invitation to serve as co-chief executive of Titan, he and Philip have puzzled many longtime observers by displaying a surprising spirit of cooperation. Their shared goal of rescuing the company from a looming DiMera takeover gave them common purpose. Beneath that surface harmony, however, lay decades of jealous rivalry and unresolved grievances. All it took was one forged letter to rip the lid off simmering tensions. Late last night, Xander learned that Philip secretly faked a handwritten confession, twisting Xander's own words to mask Philip's guilty knowledge of Titan's questionable weapons subsidiary. The discovery struck Xander like a hammer to the heart. Loyalty is the single virtue he still clings to after a lifetime of moral missteps. For Philip to exploit that trust felt like the cruelest cut imaginable. At dawn, Xander stalks through the double doors of the Kiriaki's mansion, titanically furious. A childhood of competing for Victor's approval flashes before his eyes. He remembers standing by while Philip received new sports cars, lavish trips, and paternal praise, whereas he himself found affection only in scraps. Now, as he confronts his half-brother on equal corporate footing at last, Xander determines he will not be humiliated again. His voice is low but electric, each syllable vibrating with rage. "You forged my words, Philip. You tried to turn me into your shield while you stayed squeaky clean. I kept your secrets, I defended you to the board, and this is my reward?" Philip, for once, abandons sarcasm. Guilt spreads over his face, yet he struggles to defend his desperate act. He insists he feared a takeover that could have cost dozens of employees their livelihoods. He claims he meant to protect both the company and his brother. Xander hears only hollow excuses. Pain and anger course through him, emotions that once drove him to swing a baseball bat at Brady and nearly pull a trigger on countless foes. Today, however, violence remains in check, thanks mostly to the quiet arrival of Sarah. She inserts herself between the two men, urging caution. In whispered pleas she reminds Xander of the steps he took to become a better man, the promises they made on their wedding day, and the child they hope to raise someday in a peaceful household. Her words slow his racing pulse, but they do not erase the sting of betrayal. Xander warns Philip that legal action, and, yes, personal vengeance, may yet be in the cards. The forge of family has never felt hotter. Sarah's tightrope, love, lies, and looming consequences. Sarah has always prided herself on honesty, yet the forged letter scandal forces her into murky ethical territory. Several nights ago, Philip confided the truth in drunken panic. Rather than expose him immediately, she chose to keep quiet until she could gauge the fallout. In doing so, she may have jeopardized her own marriage. Xander believes she only learned the truth moments ago, but guilt drapes across her shoulders like a lead cloak. When Xander departs to cool his fury in the Titan gym, Sarah corners Philip in the living room. Her gentle bedside manner vanishes, replaced by steely resolve. She makes it clear that she cannot lie to her husband forever. The two hatch a fragile plan. Philip will issue a public apology at the next board meeting, return any illicit earnings, and beg for leniency. Sarah thinks, and hopes, such contrition might salvage both Titan and the brothers' relationship. Yet in her heart she fears time has already run out. Salem has proven again and again that secrets fester until they explode, and when they do, the shrapnel spares no one. Vivian versus Gabby. A ballroom blitz of bitter revelations while storms gather at Titan. Another tempest brews across town in the DiMera guesthouse, where Vivian has taken residence after her controversial early release from Statesville. Vivian has always enjoyed needling her perceived inferiors, but her hatred for Gabby burns with special intensity. Years ago she kidnapped Gabby's husband, Stefan, shipped him off to Alemania, and, cruelest twist of all, forged his signature on divorce documents that shattered Gabby's marriage. Gabby, unaware of those machinations, carries an obvious wound beneath her fashionable wardrobe. She hides loneliness behind bold lipstick and sharper wit. Today she marches to the guesthouse intent on delivering a scathing welcome home speech. The confrontation that follows is worthy of an opera house. Gabby slams the door so hard it rattles the crystal decanters. She declares Vivian unfit to breathe Salem air. Vivian reclines on an overstuffed chaise and, with cat-like delight, purrs about Gabby's failed marriage and floundering fashion line. Each insult slices deeper until Gabby finally blurts, "At least my freedom was never bought with blood money or shady favors." The words briefly puncture Vivian's smug smile, but she quickly recovers and teases a surprise Gabby will never see coming. Readers know that surprise is Stefan himself, alive and longing for reconciliation, if only he could break free from his mother's control. For now, Vivian smothers the truth, content to watch Gabby twist in the wind. Yet as Gabby storms out, she vows to expose every skeleton in Vivian's closet. And in Salem, promises like that often ignite chain reactions no one can predict. Sean and JJ, accidental detectives on a perilous path across town, the police department buzzes with fresh leads on the case of EJ's shooting. Sean, still grappling with guilt over past drinking and reckless decisions, finds redemption in the hunt for justice. He and JJ uncover evidence suggesting Melinda, once the hard-nosed district attorney, played a shadowy role in the cover-up. Worse, they suspect she pawned the legendary Horton ruby necklace to finance hush money payments. The men corner Melinda in the corridor outside the courthouse. Sean's badge glints beneath fluorescent lights as he delivers a formal warning. Tamper with evidence again and you will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. JJ, meanwhile, invokes his family legacy, reminding Melinda that the Horton name stands for truth, not tyranny. Melinda's once unassailable confidence crumbles. Stripped of her office after a series of questionable prosecutorial tactics, she now faces possible criminal charges. The woman who sent dozens to prison may soon trade her tailored suits for an orange jumpsuit. For the audience, the scene serves as a stark reminder that in Salem, the law is both sword and snare, cutting down even those who wield it. Rafe's crisis of conscience, when doubt destroys devotion, just blocks away in a cozy corner booth at Brady's pub. Rafe nurses lukewarm coffee and colder regret. He spent the previous evening in Sammy's arms, convinced that his fiancée Jada had rekindled an affair with Sean. The revelation that he misread events lands like a stone in his stomach. Insecurity can drive even the most principled man to foolish acts, and Rafe now counts himself among the foolish. Sammy listens, sympathy flickering behind her expressive eyes. She tries to reassure him that mistakes, though painful, need not be fatal. She points out her own history of impulsive romances and daring dalliances, noting that perseverance, honesty, and humility can rebuild almost any bridge. Yet Rafe cannot shake dread that Jada's trust is lost forever. Meanwhile, Jada, nursing her own bruised heart, has withdrawn to her apartment, shutting off her phone and refusing visitors. The woman who once faced down gunmen now feels powerless before betrayal. Whether Rafe's apology can cut through that grief remains uncertain, but time is not on his side. Wounds left untended may scar over beyond repair. How it all intertwines, the loom of fate in Salem on the surface, these 5 storylines appear distinct: a forged business letter, a manipulated divorce, a fallen prosecutor, a misjudged romance, and a missing heir. Yet look closer and you will find them stitched together by common themes: secrets, trust, and the high price of false assumptions. Secrets thrive because human hearts crave shortcuts to security. Philip forged a letter to protect Titan. Vivian falsified divorce papers to keep Stefan close. Melinda pawned family jewels to bury evidence. Each believed the lie would shield them, yet every lie becomes its own hungry creature, demanding greater deceptions until discovery explodes like fireworks in the night. Trust once broken is fiendishly hard to restore. Xander doubts Philip, Sarah fears Xander will doubt her, Gabby doubts everybody, Rafe doubts himself. Trust is the invisible thread that holds Salem's community together. Stretch it too far, and the entire social fabric begins to unravel. False assumptions ignite many tragedies. Rafe assumed Jada cheated, Gabby assumed Stefan no longer loves her, Xander assumed Philip finally turned over a new leaf. These misunderstandings remind us that clear communication, though often uncomfortable, saves immeasurable pain in the long run. Older viewers understand the truth of those themes because they have lived it: the friend who kept a costly secret, the spouse who felt taken for granted, the sibling rivalry that persisted into middle age. That shared experience is why we return to Salem year after year. The characters may be younger or older, richer or poorer, yet their trials mirror our own, played out beneath brighter lights and higher stakes. What comes next? A glimpse beyond the horizon. Xander vs. Philip. Expect a tense board meeting where Xander reveals the forgery in front of stunned investors. Legal counsel will advise Philip to step down temporarily, but surrender has never been his style. Battle lines inside the Kiriakis family will deepen, and Sarah may find her marriage dragged into court along with the corporate lawsuit. Gabi's quest for answers. Driven by intuition, she will travel to Alemania in search of Stefan, unaware that Vivian has already set traps to delay her. Along the way, Gabi may uncover half-forgotten clues about a hidden estate, a secret passage, and the true reason Vivian targeted her in the first place. Melinda's reckoning. Evidence against the former district attorney grows stronger. A hastily convened grand jury could indict her within days. Desperate, Melinda might attempt to flee but discover that the very contacts she once blackmailed now abandon her. Rafe and Jada's fragile love. Rafe plans an earnest, face-to-face confession. Jada's response will hinge on her core belief that people can change, or cannot. Their next conversation may end in tearful reconciliation or painful farewell, setting both on new romantic paths.